On December 19, 2018, a revolution began to spread across Sudan. After enduring years of President Omar Bashir's oppressive military regime, the civilians fought back, demanding democracy in their country. A few months later, two men emerged who played a significant role in overthrowing Bashir in a coup. They promised the protesters the future they desired. However, 4 years later, these same two men find themselves at war with each other, tearing Sudan apart and causing the deaths of hundreds of civilians. How did Sudan undergo such a rapid transformation from hope to conflict, and what led to the deterioration of the partnership between these once powerful men? Sudan has a history of coups, with military officers repeatedly ousting leaders. The Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, the official military of the country, has held immense power for almost a century. Following Sudan's independence from Anglo-Egyptian rule, the first successful military coup occurred in 1958 when Abdel Khalil, a retired military officer and sitting prime minister, overthrew the civilian government to establish a military rule. This pattern continued with Colonel Jafar Nimeri's successful coup in the late 1960s, overthrowing a brief democratic period. In 1985, Nimeri was himself removed by another military officer who installed a new democratic government. However, in 1989, Colonel Omar Bashir emerged and took down this government, appointing himself as the new head of state. Bashir, aware of the vulnerability faced by previous leaders, implemented a strategy known as coup-proofing. He surrounded himself with protectors but kept each of them in check to prevent any potential overthrow. Bashir initially relied on the SAF to suppress an ongoing civil war in southern Sudan. Meanwhile, another conflict erupted in the western region of Darfur. Bashir recognized the rebellion in Darfur and instead of relying on the SAF, he armed and utilized local Arab militias called the Janjaweed to quell the rebellion. The Janjaweed committed brutal acts under Bashir's command, including mass killings, rape, and displacement of civilians. Understanding the need for further protection, Bashir turned to the Janjaweed leader, Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, Hemeti, whom he trusted the most. Hemeti, also referred to as "my protection," became a crucial figure for Bashir's regime. In 2013, Bashir granted official status to the Janjaweed, forming a paramilitary force known as the Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Hemeti was placed under Bashir's command, and the RSF's main purpose was to protect the president. Bashir granted Hemeti financial autonomy and allowed him control over Darfur's gold mines, enabling him to amass wealth and engage in smuggling operations. Meanwhile, Bashir maintained the support of the SAF, granting them involvement in major industries. While Bashir enriched these two forces, the Sudanese people struggled, leading to protests in 2018 amid a severe economic crisis. Despite allocating a significant portion of the budget to the security sector, including Bashir's protectors, the basic needs of the Sudanese population were neglected. These protests escalated and focused on Khartoum, the capital city. Bashir refused to step down, and the RSF, SAF, and other security sectors cracked down on the protesters, who demanded democracy. However, the protesters persisted for months, challenging Bashir's protection scheme. It became apparent to the RSF and SAF that Bashir's leadership was no longer beneficial to them. In a surprising move on April 11, 2019, SAF commanders collaborated with Hemeti and removed Bashir from power in a coup.